The silent tactician awakens. The galaxy had known peace for centuries. 1,000 species across countless worlds had established a delicate balance, creating what many called the golden era of galactic civilization. Trade routes flourished between star systems, cultural exchanges bridged ancient divides, and diplomatic channels remained open even during the most challenging disputes. The Galactic Coalition, comprising the most advanced and powerful civilizations, stood as the proud architect of this era, with their Grand Council chambers on the capital world of Nexus Prime hosting ambassadors from every corner of known space, every corner except one. Earth and its colonies remained absent from these grand halls of power. Humanity, having survived its tumultuous infancy of warfare and near self-destruction, had retreated to rebuild in isolation centuries ago. Their small cluster of colony worlds on the outer rim was considered insignificant, a footnote in galactic affairs. The Coalition rarely discussed humans except as an anthropological curiosity. A species that had nearly destroyed itself before reaching the stars, now focused on quiet survival rather than expansion. What the galaxy didn't understand was that humanity's silence wasn't weakness, it was focus. Commander Area Chen stood at the observation deck of the orbital station Artemis, watching Earth rotate below. At 52, she carried herself with a quiet authority that needed no medals or decorations to announce itself. Her close-cropped silver hair framed sharp eyes that had seen more conflict than most of the Coalition's admirals combined. Not that they knew who she was. To the galaxy at large, Artemis was merely a research station, and Chen was simply its administrator. "Commander," a voice called from behind her. "The Proxima colony has gone dark." Chen didn't turn immediately. Her eyes remained fixed on the blue marble below. "Show me." The holo display activated, showing the small human settlement on Proxima Centauri V, or rather, what remained of it. The colony, home to 12,000 people, was now a smoking crater. Orbital scans showed residual energy signatures unlike anything in human databases. "Coalition weapons?" Chen asked, her voice betraying no emotion. "No, Commander. The signatures match Valkyrie technology." The Valkyrie, one of the founding species of the Coalition, masters of energy weapons and shields, supposedly steadfast advocates for peace. "It's beginning then," Chen said. "Alert Daedalus Division. Initiate Protocol Lazarus." "Commander," the aide hesitated. "Protocol Lazarus has never been tested outside simulation. The risks were calculated long ago." Chen finally turned, her eyes reflecting the glow of Earth below. "They've broken the peace. They've killed our people. And they think we're defenseless." A cold smile touched her lips. "It's time to show them how wrong they are." Across human space, deep underground facilities that had lain dormant for decades began to hum with renewed activity. Ships that had never been registered in any galactic database rose from hidden lunar bases. Weapon systems that defied conventional physics were brought online. The galaxy had forgotten that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in numbers or resources, but in its endless capacity to innovate when backed into a corner. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Valkyrie representative, High Marshal Drax, addressed the chamber with practiced concern. "The situation is grave," he announced. "A rogue element within our military has taken unauthorized action against a human settlement. We offer our deepest condolences and promise swift justice against those responsible." Murmurs filled the chamber. Most species had barely considered humans in their calculations for centuries. Now suddenly, they were the focus of an interstellar incident. "We must send a diplomatic mission immediately," suggested the Alarian delegate, their translucent skin pulsing with anxiety. "The humans are primitive, but not unreasonable. They'll understand this was a terrible mistake." High Marshal Drax nodded solemnly. "I've already dispatched a delegation. We must prevent this tragedy from escalating into something worse." What the Council didn't know was that their delegation would never reach Earth. 3 light years from the Sol system, the Valkyrie diplomatic vessel encountered something impossible. a human warship unlike any recorded in Coalition databases. The Valkyrie captain opened communication channels, prepared to offer condolences and explanations. Instead, his ship's systems suddenly failed, caught in a field that seemed to distort the very fabric of space around them. The last image transmitted back to Valkyrie Command showed a sleek vessel with Earth's insignia. Before all communication ceased, news of the diplomatic ship's disappearance spread quickly through Coalition channels, along with rumors of unprecedented human military capability. The Council's confidence wavered. If the humans possessed technology capable of neutralizing a Valkyrie cruiser without firing a shot, what else might they be capable of? High Marshal Drax maintained his composure in public, but in private chambers, he raged at his intelligence officers. "You assured me they were defenseless," he hissed. "Decades of surveillance showed nothing. No fleet, no advanced weapons research, nothing." "The data was accurate, High Marshal," the intelligence chief insisted. "They must have hidden their military development deep underground or in artificial pocket dimensions. Our scans couldn't penetrate." "Excuses." Drax slammed his fist on the table. "Find out who's leading their military response. We need to know what we're facing." The answer came sooner than expected, but not from Coalition intelligence. A transmission cut through every communication channel in Coalition space simultaneously, a display of technical prowess that shocked even the most advanced Coalition engineers. Commander Area Chen's face appeared on screens across 1,000 worlds. Her expression was calm, her voice measured. "People of the Galactic Coalition, I am Commander Area Chen of Earth's Defense Command. For centuries, humanity has observed your alliance from afar. We chose isolation to rebuild our civilization after nearly destroying ourselves. We hoped your coalition represented a true path to lasting peace." Her eyes hardened. "We were wrong. The unprovoked attack on our Proxima colony reveals the truth behind your diplomatic facade. We now understand that the Valkyrie leadership, with the tacit approval of council members, orchestrated this attack to eliminate what they perceived as a potential future threat." Across Coalition space, officials scrambled to trace and cut the transmission, but their efforts proved futile against human technology. "You believed us weak because we chose peace. You thought us blind to your surveillance. You assumed our isolation meant technological stagnation." Chen's lips curved into a cold smile. "Your fundamental miscalculation was believing that humanity had forgotten how to fight." On cue, human warships appeared in orbit around 12 strategic Coalition worlds simultaneously, not through conventional FTL travel, but simply appearing, as if they'd been there all along, hidden behind veils of distorted spacetime. "We do not desire war," Chen continued, "but we will not stand idle while our people are slaughtered. The Council has 24 hours to surrender those responsible for the attack on Proxima and agree to new terms of diplomatic engagement. Otherwise, we will demonstrate precisely what humanity is capable of when provoked." The transmission ended, leaving stunned silence across Coalition space. In his private chambers, High Marshal Drax received a separate encrypted message. Chen's face appeared again, but this time her expression was different, almost pitying. "Hello, Drax. Yes, we know it was you who ordered the attack. We've known about your plans for years. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your probes, your spy networks, your quiet buildup of forces near our border systems?" Chen leaned closer to the camera. "What you never understood was that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our ships or our technology. It's our perspective. We've survived our own attempts at self-destruction. We've faced extinction and pulled back from the brink. We understand violence and war in ways your species never had to learn." She tapped a datapad, and Drax's screen filled with detailed schematics of secret Valkyrie military installations, surveillance reports of closed council sessions, even private communications between Drax and his inner circle. "We've been watching you watching us," Chen explained, "and preparing, not for conquest, not for revenge, but to ensure that if war came again, we would end it decisively. Drax's composure finally broke. What do you want? Resources? Territory? Name your price. Chen shook her head. What we want is simple: accountability, justice, and a fundamental restructuring of how the galaxy governs itself. The age of shadows and secrets is over, High Marshal, one way or another. As the ultimatum's deadline approached, the coalition fractured. Some species called for immediate military action against the human threat. Others advocated surrender to Chen's demands. A few even suggested that perhaps the humans were right, that the coalition's peace had been built on foundations of power and intimidation, rather than true cooperation. What none of them realized was that Chen had never intended for the Council to meet her demands. The ultimatum was merely a catalyst, the first move in a game where she had calculated every possible response. Humanity had spent centuries studying the coalition's politics, psychology, and military doctrine. They knew exactly how each species would react, which alliances would hold and which would break. 23 hours after Chen's ultimatum, the first shots were fired, not by humans, but by coalition forces turning against each other. The Valkyrie fleet moved to secure key strategic positions, while other species scrambled to protect their interests. Within hours, the coalition, the Grand Alliance that had maintained peace for centuries, began to tear itself apart from within. And watching from her command center on Artemis Station, Commander Area Chen nodded slowly. Phase 1 was complete. The real work of reshaping the galaxy was about to begin. The rules rewritten. The Coalition's first coordinated counterattack came 3 days after Chen's ultimatum expired. A joint fleet comprising vessels from 7 different species converged on Earth, determined to strike at the heart of human resistance before Chen's mysterious technology could spread further across Coalition space. High Marshal Drax personally led the assault, his flagship's weapon systems charged to full capacity. The fleet emerged from FTL travel at the edge of the Sol system, weapons ready, expecting fierce resistance from humanity's newly revealed defenses. Instead, they found nothing. Earth hung in space, seemingly unprotected. No defense platforms, no orbiting fleet, not even basic early warning systems. Scans showed cities operating normally, civilian traffic moving between Earth and its moon, and no signs of military mobilization. It's a trap, Drax's second-in-command warned. Of course it's a trap, Drax replied. But we have no choice. Begin the approach, maintain battle formation. As the Coalition fleet moved toward Earth, sensors detected an anomaly. A small vessel approaching from the direction of Mars. A single ship, unarmed, broadcasting on open channels. "This is Ambassador Thomas Chen of Earth," came the transmission. "I request permission to board and discuss terms of peace." Drax's officers exchanged confused glances. Chen, related to the commander. Her brother, Drax confirmed, having studied every fragment of human intelligence since the conflict began. A diplomat, not a soldier. He considered for a moment. Allow him to dock. Perhaps the humans have reconsidered their position. Ambassador Chen was escorted to the flagship's conference room. A slender man with the same sharp eyes as his sister, but with none of her military bearing. He carried only a small data pad and wore civilian clothes. High Marshal Drax, he bowed slightly. "Thank you for receiving me." "Spare me the diplomatic courtesies," Drax growled. "Your sister threatens the galaxy's peace, reveals hidden weapons that violate a dozen treaties, and now sends you to talk. What game is she playing?" Thomas Chen set his data pad on the table. "No game, Marshal. My sister asked me to deliver this directly to you. It contains detailed scans of the Proxima colony after your attack, including biological samples of the victims. Fathers, mothers, children, researchers and farmers. Not soldiers. A regrettable loss," Drax said stiffly. "But war demands." "We weren't at war," Thomas interrupted, his calm facade cracking slightly. "And we still don't have to be." "Then recall your fleet. Surrender your illegal weapons technology. That's not why I'm here. Thomas activated the data pad, projecting a holographic star map of Coalition space. I'm here to show you what happens in the next 30 minutes if you continue this course of action. The hologram shifted, showing Coalition worlds suddenly erupting in civil unrest, military bases mysteriously losing power, supply chains collapsing. Not from external attack, but from carefully orchestrated internal failures. While you gathered your fleet to attack Earth, my sister was implementing what she calls distributed strategic leverage. Thomas explained. Small interventions across thousands of systems, designed to cascade into system-wide instability. Drax's eyes widened as he understood. Your ships aren't ships in the conventional sense, Thomas confirmed. They're mobile dimensional anchors. They don't need to travel between systems. They fold space around themselves, existing in multiple locations simultaneously. While you see one human vessel, it's actually present in 100 places, implementing localized changes too small to detect individually. Impossible, one of Drax's officers whispered. 3 months ago, I would have agreed, Thomas said. But my sister's Daedalus division has been developing this technology for decades, not for conquest, but as an absolute deterrent against exactly this scenario. Before Drax could respond, alarms blared across the flagship. Communications officers reported simultaneous emergencies across Coalition space, exactly matching the predictions on Thomas' projection. This is just a demonstration, Thomas said quietly. Minimal casualties, systems designed to recover within days. But it proves what we're capable of. Drax stared at the reports flooding in, his composure crumbling. What does she want? What are her terms? The same as before. Accountability and restructuring. The Coalition was built on a lie, that all species are equal partners. In reality, founding members like the Valkyrie have manipulated policy for centuries, eliminating potential rivals before they could develop. Thomas gestured to the chaos unfolding across the hologram. This isn't my sister's endgame. It's her opening argument. Proof that the old rules of warfare, fleets, frontal assaults, occupy territory, are obsolete. You can't fight an enemy that exists everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. So she would hold the galaxy hostage. Drax snarled. No, she would rewrite the rules. Thomas's expression softened. My sister is a tactician, not a conqueror. She wants to create a system where no species can dominate another through force or subterfuge, where advancement isn't seen as a threat to be neutralized. Across Coalition space, the carefully orchestrated chaos continued to unfold, not with bombs or bloodshed, but with precisely calculated system failures, revealed secrets, and strategic breakdowns. Power grids flickered. Banking systems showed evidence of long-term corruption. Communication channels broadcast private conversations between officials planning preemptive strikes against potential threats. The Coalition wasn't being conquered. It was being exposed. Back on Artemis Station, Commander Chen watched the Coalition fleet surrounding Earth. She had predicted every move, calculated every response. Her brother would be delivering her message now, showing Drax the first glimpses of humanity's true capability. Signal from Ambassador Chen, her communications officer reported. The Coalition fleet is standing down. High Marshal Drax is requesting direct communication with you. Chen nodded. Put him through. Drax's face appeared on screen, his usual confidence shattered. Commander Chen, your demonstration is convincing. I propose an immediate ceasefire while we discuss terms. There will be no negotiation, Marshal. Chen replied calmly. In 12 hours, I will address the people of every Coalition world directly. I will reveal the evidence of your planned aggression against humanity and other developing species. I will explain how founding members have manipulated the Coalition for centuries. And then I will outline the new framework for galactic governance. You can't simply dictate terms to the entire galaxy. I'm not dictating. I'm revealing. There's a difference. Chen leaned forward. For too long, Species like yours have believed that superior firepower grants the right to determine who rises and who remains subjugated. You've eliminated potential rivals before they could challenge your dominance. You've maintained the illusion of peace while preparing for war against anyone who might one day match your power. She gestured to a display showing the continuing cascade of revelations across Coalition space. We could have responded to your attack with equal violence. Instead, we chose a different path. We're not destroying your civilization, Drax. We're evolving it. 12 hours later, as promised, Commander Chen's face appeared on communication devices across 1,000 worlds. But the message she delivered wasn't what anyone expected. Not the Coalition leadership, not even her own advisors. People of the galaxy, she began. My name is Commander Area Chen of Earth. Recent events have revealed fundamental flaws in how our civilizations interact. The attack on our colony was merely a symptom of a larger problem. Fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of losing power. Images began to appear alongside her. Documentation of secret Coalition operations spanning centuries, evidence of suppressed technologies, records of species whose development had been deliberately stunted. Humanity faced this same crisis in our history. Our nations fought to dominate one another, to control resources, to prevent rivals from growing too powerful. It nearly destroyed us. We learned, through terrible sacrifice, that true security cannot come from domination. Her expression softened. Today, I am not declaring victory over the Coalition. I am not establishing human rule. Instead, I am activating what we call the Prometheus Protocol, a complete technological disclosure of every advancement humanity has developed in isolation. Across the galaxy, databases began receiving detailed technical specifications for everything from human medical technology to the dimensional anchors that had so thoroughly dismantled the Coalition's defenses. Knowledge should not be a weapon, Chen continued. It should be a foundation upon which all species can build. The Coalition's founding principle, that cooperation trumps conflict, was correct. Its implementation was flawed. She described a new framework for galactic relations, one built on radical transparency rather than power blocks and secret alliances. Species would retain their sovereignty, but technological development would be shared openly. Attempts to dominate others through force would be met with immediate, system-wide consequences implemented through the now distributed network of dimensional anchors. This isn't human rule, Chen emphasized. It's the end of rule through superior force altogether. The technology we've revealed today ensures that no species, including humanity, can ever again attempt galactic domination through military means. In the following weeks, the galaxy transformed. The old Coalition collapsed, replaced by a new structure built on Chen's framework. Some species resisted initially, but as the benefits of shared technological development became apparent, opposition faded. Worlds that had been deliberately kept from advancing suddenly found themselves with access to technologies they had been denied for generations. 6 months after the Proxima attack, Commander Chen stood once again at the observation window of Artemis Station. Earth rotated below, but her gaze was fixed on the construction of a massive structure in orbit, the new Galactic Assembly, where representatives from every species would meet as true equals. Was it worth it? Her brother Thomas asked, joining her at the window. All the planning, the secrets, the risk. Chen watched as ships from a dozen worlds docked at the partially completed assembly. They thought we had forgotten how to fight, she said quietly. What we actually learned was that there are better ways to win. Thomas studied his sister's profile. You knew from the beginning, didn't you, that they would attack eventually? I calculated the probability at 94.3%, she admitted. Species that achieve dominance rarely surrender it willingly. The Valkyrie and others saw our potential and decided elimination was simpler than cooperation. And now, Chen finally smiled, not the cold, tactical smile she had shown Drax, but something warmer, more genuine. Now we've changed the equation. We've created a system where advancement benefits everyone, where knowledge flows freely, where power comes from innovation rather than destruction. She turned from the window. They broke the rules of war, Thomas. So we rewrote the rules of peace. Across the galaxy, humanity's technologies spread, transforming worlds, connecting species that had long been isolated from one another. The dimensional anchors remained, now overseen by a council representing all species, the ultimate deterrent against any return to the old ways of conquest and domination. The galaxy had expected humanity to emerge as conquerors. Instead, they had become architects, not of an empire, but of a future where the very concept of galactic warfare had been rendered obsolete. Commander Area Chen's name would be remembered not as a warrior, but as something far more powerful, the tactician who won peace without firing a shot, who defeated an enemy by transforming them into allies, and who reshaped the galaxy not through force of arms, but through force of vision.